You are what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for.
In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 quick and easy ways to use up your scraps. If you're a paper hoarder like me, you have tons of scraps. I'm always trying to come up with ways to use these scraps, so today I'll share with you 3 of those ways. Number 1, creating tabs. This particular technique is super versatile and you don't need any specific size. For today, I have a strip of cardstock that measures 2 by 12. And you could do this in any length or width that you like, but I find 2 inches is the perfect size to create a tab. So you could have it 2 by 6, 2 by 4, 2 by 3, whatever it is. So basically what I'm doing is cutting this strip down into 2-inch squares. So I've gone ahead and cut this all up. I end up getting 6 2 by 2-inch squares here. And now I'm going to take these little squares and fold them in half. And then once I fold them in half, I'm going to round the top corners of the folded edge. A corner rounder is a great tool for this technique, but you could also use decorative punches. You could create little stubs or angles, whatever you want to do. I like the corner round. I feel like it creates a nice, pretty little tab. You could also use a scoreboard for these to score the center of the cardstock, but I found that just folding it in half didn't create any issues and it was super quick and simple. Now I've got all my little tabs made. I'm going to grab some ink and a blending brush, and I'm just going to ink up the edges of that tab. It just sort of kind of highlights the tab itself and covers those little white edges and gives it a little bit of a stepped up look. You don't have to do this, but I just like inking the edges of the cardstock. I think it creates a pretty look. So once these are all done, I've got 6 little tabs to add to any book or journal that I have. And for example, I have this journal that I've created using a random lined notebook, and I've decorated it with my 12 by 12 papers. I have a ton of 12 by 12 paper pads. I used my 12 by 12 paper to cover the front of the book, create some pockets and some pretty tabs. And you'll notice that these tabs are a little bit bigger than the ones I have, but it's the same idea. So we have a 2-inch piece that we end up folding in half, and you can make them as long as you want. These are 2 inches long, and then once they're folded in half, it becomes 2 by 1 inch. So and you just attach that to the edge of your page to create the little tab. So tip number 1, to create cute little tabs. Tip number 2 is to create cute little bookmarks. So here I've got another long strip. I tend to have a lot of these. When I'm making my projects, I always cut my sheets down and I end up with these long strips. This one in particular, I'm just going to fold it in half. I'm not going to do anything fancy here. I'm just going to fold the piece in half, and then that's pretty much it. The rest is whatever you want to do. I apply a little bit of adhesive on the inside of the bookmark here so that it ends up being double-sided, because most of the pattern papers that I use are single-sided. Because I have a serious problem with the Michaels Recollections paper pads, and I just can't stop buying them, so they're usually single-sided. So I'll grab my corner rounder and I'll round the corners of this bookmark, and then you can step this up a little bit. I'm going to grab another scrap piece of paper here and a couple of punches. So I have a 3/8 of an inch circle punch and another smaller circle punch. At first I started and I cut out 2 little circles, but I didn't think it would work. I wouldn't be able to line it up properly. So I punched out with my smaller punch 2 little holes. And then I'm able to take my bigger circle and kind of find the center and pop out another circle, which will create little hole reinforcers. So this is great to be able to add ribbon or twine to the top of your bookmark and just have that extra little reinforcement. And it looks pretty. So I'm going to grab my circle punch again. I'm going to make sure that I punch on the side where the 2 pieces of cardstock kind of are taped together. The bottom part of this is sealed by the score mark, so I'm just making sure that I punch on that top part, and then I'll apply adhesive around the little circle and then pop on my hole reinforcer. I'll flip it over and do the same thing. Now I didn't get this very centered. You could probably do a much better job and center the hole on your bookmark, but you get the idea. So next I'm going to grab a piece of organza ribbon. This is a really pretty sheer ribbon, and I'm going to fold it in half and then make a little point. Push it through the hole, open up that little loop and pop my tails through it. And then I'll just take my time to pull and tighten that knot. And then there we go. We have this cute little ribbon. Now I'm going to take the two tails, line them up together and fold it in half. And then I'm going to make an angle cut once I get it all straight. That will create this beautiful ribbon tail end. And I really like the way that looks. So there we go. We have a cute little bookmark with some ribbon and hole reinforcers, all made out of my scraps. You could really step this up by adding ephemera or die cuts or stamped images on here to really make it extra pretty. Let's move into idea number 3, and that is creating belly bands. Now I thought this was a great idea to use pattern paper that coordinates with the project that you've already made. I don't have an example of that. I've got some random colored envelopes and a bunch of blank card bases just to show you my idea. So I've got this strip here and I'm just folding it around my stack of cards and envelopes. And I'm going to apply adhesive to one end here. And I realized that I want my cards to be kind of in the front. So I'm going to flip this over. So I'll put my envelopes on the back and the cards on the front so that that little part that's adhered together, you're not really going to see that. Okay, so I'm just going to fold it over and pull really tight and make sure that everything is squeezed up in there nice and good and apply that adhesive. That was super simple. Now this is an excellent idea to use up those extra scraps of pattern paper that already coordinate with the cards that you've made. And then you can step it up by adding an embellishment or, a little sentiment on the front that says for you or thank you or something like that to make a really extra special coordinated project. Okay, so that's going to be it for today's video. The 3 ideas to use up some of those paper scraps, making tabs, bookmarks, and belly bands. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I hope that this video has inspired you to take a look at some of your scraps in a different way. Coming up on screen is a playlist for a series of Scrap It Up projects that I have. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!